Westchester County, I am John Rubo, owner of Yonkers Brewing Company. We're here in Yonkers, New York. This is Between Two Tanks, the show with craft beer and great conversations. I'm here with Chef Peter Kelly today. Thanks for joining me, Peter.
John, it's so nice to be here between these two tanks. I'm wondering what's inside, but you know.
Great beer.
Great beer, right? Very happy to be here.
Thanks for joining
me. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for joining us. You've been in Yonkers a long time. You were born in Yonkers. Tell us a story about, one of your favorite memories as a kid in Yonkers.
Well, John, as you may or may not know, I'm from a large family. I'm number 10 of 12, and we grew up in downtown Yonkers. I was kind of small when we left, but some of my favorite memories of being here, we all attended parochial schools, so my brother Ned and I used to walk to St. Mary's. And what I remember most, because I was small, is there was always an event going. It was always a First Holy Communion or a confirmation or an 8th grade graduation. So it meant that, we always had family and friends at the house, and I remember that very well. That was fun. I also remember hanging out in Getty Square, shoplifting Saturdays.
Well, statute of limitations,
yeah,
so we're
exactly.
good. Well, your restaurant is located in downtown Yonkers on the historic city pier. We've seen the last decade, how many buildings have gone up, the people that have moved into the community. What are some of the things that you hope to see over the next decade here in downtown Yonkers?
As you know, John, there's been so much great stuff that has happened in Yonkers over the last 2 decades. I started this project in 2001, so we're 22 years into it.
Wow!
So I've had the benefit of seeing some terrific things happen. But when you ask me what I want to see more of, is what I want to see is people. I want to see people on date night walking the riverfront, holding hands. I want to see kids riding their bikes up and down the river line, looking out to this incredible Palisades across the river. And I want to see people with smiles on their faces as they're saying, we're going down to Yonkers, downtown, to visit, have a night out, have dinner, have cocktails, have an incredible beer. That's what I want to see. And I think it's coming. I think that in particularly over the last 6-7 years, we've really seen a lot of growth in that. So certainly, Lionsgate and the attention they've received, not so much what they bring to the immediate community, but the attention they draw. That if a company of their global weight says Yonkers is a great place, then, and we'll start maybe Yonkers Brewery and X2O, there's hope for us.
Right. Yeah, and your restaurant does have some of the most spectacular views up and down the Hudson. Just looking across to the Palisades, you can see New York City, you can see the Mario Cuomo Bridge,
or the Tappan Zee, whichever
right.
you like.
But you just have such spectacular views, and it's such a great dining experience to be able to go and sit there and enjoy those views.
As they say, John, you can't eat the view.
Right.
It's nice to have it, and
right.
we're very blessed to be in such a location. You look north to the Tappan Zee or Mario Cuomo, and south to the George Washington, out to the Palisades. It's really like being on a ship because, when we enclosed it, this was a recreational pier that juts out into the river. It's almost like being on a boat.
Right.
So
right.
We're very lucky to be in that space.
So you brought up a good point. You can't eat the view, but you can absolutely enjoy everything in the restaurant. So what is your secret to cooking? What can you tell us here? When people sit and dine in the restaurant, they enjoy, really any item you put in front of them. I like to say it's like a party in your mouth.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
The reality is there are no secrets. I think what's important is putting people at ease. They need to trust you, and service is such a critical piece. When people come to a restaurant for food, but they come back to a restaurant for service. And I think I've been very fortunate to develop a team, both in the back of the house from the culinary side, but almost more importantly, on the front side. Julian James has been with me directing the service since the day we opened, and he's very important in that regard. So when people relax and sit down, they're easier to please. It's just the truth of it. And from a menu perspective, there's nothing on the menu that I don't love. So it's kind of broad, but whether it's an incredible sea bass that's just poached and served with a lime nage, or a prime steak that's simply grilled. They're all things that I personally like, and I think most people, right, that's what they go out for, something special.
So we're talking about something special. You have such a presence in the industry, so many different chefs. Recently saw you at Red Horse in David Burke's restaurant. If you and David were sitting having a conversation with some new restaurateurs, people who just love the industry and want to get into the hospitality industry, what advice do you have for them?
Think long and hard on it.
Right.
David Burke is one of the most creative and just a terrific guy. I mean, he and I have been friends for 30 years. We do 2-3 different charity events together every year. Actually, David and I and Emerald Agassi did for Table to Table. It's a food rescue program, a dinner together a couple of years ago. That was a wild time. But David opening up in White Plains with Red Horse, I think that for him, he looked at, he's primarily a New York City guy. He saw it as an opportunity because his clientele is from up here. So he said, let me get closer to them. And I think he's created a great restaurant, and it's hospitality driven. It feels great when you walk in, whether you want to shoot a game of pool or eat a great steak or just have a cocktail at the bar. It's a great place in the center of White Plains, and he's going to do very well. And his advice would be, as mine would be passionate about what you do. You want to be good at it, you got to be passionate about it.
That's great advice. Be passionate. Be
That's
passionate.
it.
Our last question.
I'll drink to that.
Yes. You're married. You've been married for many years. And I always believe that
30 to be exact.
Married 30 years. God bless.
February will be 30.
And you always, the spouse of a restaurateur or someone in the industry, male or female, they put up a lot with us.
Well, I don't know about you, but they put up a lot with me. Yes.
And we have in one of our future episodes a husband and wife team that are going to be sitting down with us. But it's important to go out for a date night. That was some of the best advice I was given on my wedding day. A good friend, he said, my wife and I have been married for 45 years. We have a date night every week, and we really try to do that. So where does Peter Kelly and Mrs. Kelly, where do you go out to eat when it's time to dine out?
Well, of course, I love to support friends in the industry, so we often look to those places first. I mean, we have favorites. I mean, Dave DeBarry at the Cookery is wonderful. I mean, Eddie up at Zupa. I mean, it's an incredible restaurant. I love Glenn Vogt up at River Market in Tarrytown. John George in Pound Ridge is a place we like to take a little trip over to. So, I mean, there are many in the county, and lots of new ones that, I don't want to leave anybody out here because there's so many good restaurants. But we also like to go into New York. My son lives in New York, so we'll often meet him downtown and have dinner at Pastis. We love Pastis. We love Bar Balud by Daniel Balud. His restaurants, all of them are great. There's a long list. We just can't get to it.
There's
not enough, days in the week.
It's not enough date nights, right?
It's not enough date nights for sure.
Well, Peter, thank you, Chef, for joining us between two tanks. We appreciate everything you've done for the hospitality industry and beyond. And
we appreciate, from a Yonkers perspective, having Yonkers Brewery having Yonkers' name on this great stuff. So
Well, thank you.
cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, chef.